Don't worry, LostatSea.tv. If Slimer's around, I know a guy. Daytona Beach Ghostbusters. I got him on speed dial. We're okay. But remember, if somebody asks you if you're a god, say yes. So what happens when an adrenaline junkie marries a drama queen and they travel around the world on a catamaran? Come see the places, meet the people, and enjoy the experiences that make each destination special. And learn why traveling by boat provides more than just transportation, but a path to real adventure. And adventure builds character. Or was it characters? Either way, what is the worst that can happen? Stay tuned for more at LostatSea.tv.
Welcome to Murder Alley. Our story here tonight revolves around a one young Lieutenant Delaney, a very young officer, very, very far from home. Lieutenant Delaney decided he was going to seek himself the comforts of a painted lady. This young lady decided amongst Lieutenant Delaney and her other clients, she was not making enough money, and she formulates an extortion scheme. Lieutenant Delaney flat denies her and leaves in a huff. Short time later, he was found stabbed to death right about here. Lieutenant Delaney's murder is never solved, as many murders in St. Augustine go. It's actually been said, if you want to get away with murder, you do it here. They'll never get around to figuring it out. But it was noted when Lieutenant Delaney's body is discovered, he's not wearing his own cloak. When he leaves the young lady in a huff, he grabs the wrong cloak, leaving us to wonder who is the true intended victim. On that note, I'd like to introduce you all to the world's smallest Hilton Hotel. Only 70 rooms. Even full, it cannot pay Paris's bills for a single day.
Hey, LostatSea.tv. We're in the middle of our St. Augustine haunted pub tour from Ghost St. Augustine. We're having a great time. Not only are we hearing some of the local flavor, but we're getting some history. And we've stumbled upon O.C. White's, the third stop on our pub tour this evening. And I just thought it'd be important to bring out to all of you what a great place O.C. White's is and how convenient it is if you're staying at the St. Augustine Municipal Marina. We're right across the street. Out of all the information that we're trying to pack in these episodes, probably the most important thing for you to know is that St. Augustine has more restaurants, things to do, pubs, and facilities that can help you as a cruiser in walking distance from the marinas that you'll stay at. It is probably the most cruiser-friendly city in the entire United States, and it's not something that you want to miss. O.C. White's, right across the street from the St. Augustine Municipal Marina. Hope to see you here soon.
Out of recycled coquina stone. Coquina is an interesting little product. It's merely sand and seashells quarried over on Anastasia Island. It's fairly malleable when they quarry it, and it has to cure for a minimum of a year before they can use it. It has the marvelous ability to absorb an impact, and it's completely impervious to fire. Now, as I said, this house was built around 1850. It was owned by Margaret Worth. She ran it as a boarding house and an inn. Loved the house so much, she actually stood and had her picture taken standing in front of the house. Back when you had to stand perfectly still for several minutes to have your picture taken. Well, in the 1950s, a man named George Potter bought this building. He really liked it. He didn't like where it was, and he said it needs to be moved closer to the water. And he has it moved stone by stone to its current location. From that parking lot to here, just because he could. In 1992, Dave White buys the property and makes it what it is today. When he opens, he's given the picture of Margaret standing in front of the house. Puts it up in the third floor office. One fine Friday night in November 1992, yes, it was the 13th, a fire breaks out on the second floor. Burns so hot, blows out the windows and destroys everything inside. After the fire, they're going through the rubble. They get up around the third floor, they find a section of floor completely untouched by the fire. section of wall untouched by the fire. Hanging in the middle of the wall, the picture of Margaret standing in front of the house. Margaret herself is very involved in the temperance movement. And the temperance movement led to what?
Prohibition?
Yes, the Volstead Act, the prohibition of alcohol. Margaret believed that all alcohol was evil incarnate. Not very pleased that her house has become a bar and a restaurant. They do go through a disproportionate amount of glassware, and the occasional bottle has been known to fly off the shelf of its own accord. Margaret herself has been known to ascend the stairs inside around closing time. Right here, Meadows Lights.
Gordon, I have a question for you.
Yes.
From what I understand, the main plaza here in the center of St. Augustine was once used for slave auctions.
Well, some people say that, and a lot of people say they didn't. So it's always been in debate. The history that I've read says there really wasn't a whole lot of that going on here. Because up a little mile north of here is Fort Mose, which was established in the 1730s by the Spanish. And what it was a haven for escaped slaves. They gave them sanctuary here, as long as they did two things. They had to support themselves. For that, they were given Fort Mose. Several of them became pirates for Spain and did very well. Second, they had to help defend St. Augustine against invaders.
I had read some about that. When I had my my catamaran hauled out at the St. Augustine Marine Center, that whole area of St. Augustine, the neighborhood surrounding it, was some of the original settlements for some of the...
Oh, over here on the other side?
Yes, some of the escaped slaves, Lincolnville, that area, yes.
The entire neighborhood of Lincolnville was actually established by emancipated slaves at the end of the American Civil War. They started out in shacks and hovels and built it into the finest collection of Victorian homes in town. In 1991, that entire neighborhood is placed on the National Register of Historic Places because of the work of Dr. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement through the 1950s and 60s. In fact, St. Augustine has the great distinction of being the only place the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was ever arrested. The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office does display his fingerprint card.
Come on vacation, leave on probation. Yes, St. Augustine Marine Center is also a great place. If you happen to have a multi-hull like we do, a wide beam catamaran, and you need to be hauled out, it's one of the very few places that has a capability of doing such. Amazing facilities here for yacht maintenance, yacht repair.
Right,
if you need something, they probably have it.
And in 1668, another English pirate comes by, Robert Searles. Again, looking for treasure and again finding none. He and his crew run rampant through the streets of St. Augustine, hacking and slashing anything that comes within reach of their swords. The men, the women, the children, even the dogs. They took a liking to St. Augustine and said, we're coming back. We're going to make St. Augustine a pirate stronghold and safe haven. A fun and happy place for pirates to play.
Excuse me?
On their way out of town, they burnt down the 9th wooden fort that is protecting St. Augustine.
It is time for spirits of the liquid kind. Thank you again for joining us at LostatSea.tv.